You are capable of far more than you know. What stands between you and your greatest potential is not your circumstances, not the world outside of you, but the power you hold within. Your mind is the most powerful tool you will ever possess. And yet, too many of us allow our thoughts to control us, to hold us back. But what if you could take control instead? What if you could train your mind to overcome anything? First, you must understand this. The mind is not a passive entity. It is a force of nature. And right now, it's either working for you or against you. Every thought you entertain, every belief you hold is shaping the life you live. The thoughts you believe to be true shape your reality. If you believe you are capable, your mind will find ways to make that belief a reality. But if you believe you are defeated, your mind will find ways to validate that too. This is the raw power of your mind. It does not care what you feed it. It simply acts on what you allow. So what if you chose to feed it strength? What if you chose to train it to see possibilities instead of limitations? It's time to stop letting your circumstances dictate your destiny. The truth is, you are not defined by your past, your mistakes. And right now, you have the power to choose. Will you let your mind dictate your life? Or will you train your mind to shape the future you want? Your mind is the command center of your life. It is the filter through which you see the world, the interpreter of your experiences, the architect of your future. And yet, most people move through life unaware of just how powerful their thoughts are. Every belief you hold, every thought you allow to take root, is shaping your actions, your choices, and ultimately, your destiny. It's not enough to simply hope for a better life. You must think your way into one, because what you consistently think, you eventually believe. And what you believe, you begin to live. That's the first truth. Your thoughts are not just ideas. They are blueprints for your reality. When you wake up in the morning and tell yourself, I'm exhausted, your mind believes you. If you say, I'll never get ahead, your mind gets to work proving that true. The mind is obedient. It doesn't argue. It follows. But here's where your power lies. If you say, I've got what it takes, your mind will start scanning for proof. It will find the energy, the resources, the courage that already exists within you. That's how powerful your thoughts are. They set the tone. They create the lens. They determine whether you approach life as a victim or a victor. And most of us don't even realize we're speaking defeat into our lives before we've had our first cup of coffee. The shift begins with awareness. You cannot change what you are not aware. Start paying attention to your internal dialogue. Are you fueling your mind with fear, worry, comparison, and doubt? Or are you feeding it gratitude, strength, and purpose? Every thought is either building you up or tearing you down. So you must become intentional. Guard your mind like you would guard your home. You wouldn't let a stranger walk in and start throwing your things around. So why would you let negative thoughts move in rent, free, and wreck your peace? Any thought that doesn't serve your growth? There will be moments when your mind starts to spiral, when fear creeps in, when you feel overwhelmed. That's normal. You're human. But being human doesn't mean being powerless. In those moments, don't accept every thought as truth. Challenge them. Ask yourself, is this true? Does this move me closer to who I want to be? And if the answer is no, replace it. You get to choose a new thought. One that speaks to your strength. One that affirms your worth. One that affirms your worth. Sort of dragging you down. This isn't just positive thinking. This is mental discipline. Mental discipline is a muscle. The more you practice redirecting your thoughts, the stronger you get. And just like physical training, it won't feel easy in the beginning. It takes effort to catch yourself mid-thought and say, no, I'm not going there today. But over time, you'll find that your default changes. You'll stop spiraling as often. You'll stop feeding thoughts that sabotage your joy. You'll start living from a place of clarity, strength, and intention. And that's when the real transformation begins. Not when life gets easier, but when your mind gets stronger. Because here's the bottom line. Life will test you. It will throw things at you that you didn't see. But your ability to rise in the face of adversity begins with the thoughts you allow to live in your mind. You cannot control every storm, but you can control how you think in the middle of it. That is where your freedom lives. That is where your breakthrough. Master your thoughts. You master your life. This is not a theory. This is truth. And it will change. The ability to keep going when everything in you wants to give up. That's what separates the exceptional from the average. It's mental training. It's the relentless mindset that says, I will not stop. Life will test you in ways you never imagined. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall apart. More than one. But the ones who rise, not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who train their minds to be relentless. They made a decision. No matter what comes, I will keep showing up. I will not quit on me. There's a moment in every journey where you will be tempted to retreat. You'll feel tired. You'll feel overlooked. You'll wonder if it's even worth it. And this is where your training kicks in. Not physical training, emotional hype, but mental conditioning. Because in that moment, it's your mind that either breaks you or builds you. If your mind has been fed doubt, it will retreat into excuses. But if your mind has been trained in resilience, it will lean in. It will say, we've been here before. We've felt pain, but we didn't die. We failed before, but we didn't stop. We've been through worse, and we're still standing. You don't become relentless by accident. You become relentless by refusing to be defined by what went wrong. You become relentless by taking control of the voice in your head that says, we're not enough, and replacing it with, when you stay focused while others get distracted, when you keep your vision in front of you, even when it feels far away. That's not inspiration. That's mental discipline. That's what makes you unstoppable. Being relentless doesn't mean you never feel weak. It means you don't let weakness win. It means you recognize your emotions, but you don't surrender to them. You may cry. You may stumble. You may fall flat, on your face. But then you rise, you dust yourself off, you speak to yourself, power, and you keep going. Because somewhere deep inside you, you know this truth. Every setback is temporary. Every obstacle is a test. And your mind is the weapon that will carry you through. When it's trained, it will not bend. It will not fold. It will not break. If you want to build a relentless mind, you must become comfortable with pressure. Pressure reveals who you are. It strips away comfort and exposes your character. And here's the thing, pressure is not your enemy. It's your trainer. It teaches you how to fight when you're tired. It teaches you how to focus when you're overwhelmed. It teaches you how to find stillness in the middle of chaos. Pressure is not trying to break you. It's trying to prepare. Every time you endure pressure and refuse to quit, your mind levels up. Sharper, more focused. And that mental strength, that's your edge. In a world where most people give up at the first sign of resistance, your relentlessness will be your superpower. It's what will make you stand out. It's what will carry you when motivation fades, because motivation comes and goes. Feelings rise and fall, but a trained mind that stays with you, it will push you when everything around you says stop. It will whisper, keep going, when no one else believes in you. And it will remind you of who you are, even when you forget. That is the gift of a relentless mind. Not just to overcome, but to keep rising again and again without apology. Belief is not a luxury. It is not something you lean on when life feels light and easy. Belief is a necessity. It is the foundation that holds you up when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. And here's the truth. If you don't believe in yourself, no strategy, no opportunity, no outside validation will ever be enough. Because your mind responds to the energy you feed it. If you believe you are worthy, capable, resilient, your mind will move mountains to prove it true. But if deep down you carry doubt, your actions will shrink to match it. Two weeds and your life follows. Too many people are waiting for results before they believe. They believe. They want to see successful. They want to feel strong before they believe they are strong. But the mind doesn't work that way. It doesn't follow proof. It follows belief. You have to believe first. You have to declare it before you see it. Walk like it's already done. And move like there is no other outcome. That kind of belief isn't arrogance. It's power. It's the quiet, unshakable conviction that says, I was made for more. It's not about pretending. It's about owning the truth that's already inside of you, even when the evidence hasn't shown up yet. Belief changes your posture. It changes the way you walk into a room, the way you speak to people, the way you carry your dreams. When you believe in your purpose, you stop asking for permission. You stop needing approval. You stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. Instead, you rise. You speak with clarity. You show up with energy. People feel it before you even open your mouth. And it's not because life got easier. It's because your belief got stronger. You no longer need the world to tell you who you are. You already know now. And that knowing is your power. But belief is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. Life will give you plenty of reasons to doubt yourself. You'll make mistakes. You'll face rejection. You'll question if you're on the right path. That's normal. What matters is how you respond. Do you crumble under pressure? Or do you remind yourself of the truth? Do you let fear lead? Or do you speak to it with authority? Every day, you have the choice to either feed your doubt or feed your belief. And whichever one you feed will grow. So choose wisely. Because your belief is not just shaping your thoughts, it's directing your destiny. True belief doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you trust yourself enough to figure it out. It means you're willing to take the first step, even if the whole path isn't clear. It means you act with courage. Not because fear is gone, but because belief is stronger. When you believe in yourself, you stop waiting for the perfect moment. You realize the perfect moment is the one you decide to take action. That mindset, that relentless commitment to move forward despite uncertainty, is what sets leaders apart from the crowd. Not the absence of fear, but the presence of belief. And belief, when it's nurtured and protected, becomes a force. It becomes a shield in hard times and a fuel in slow seasons. It becomes the quiet fire that keeps you moving when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when everything feels still. That's the belief that lasts, the kind that cannot be bought, borrowed, or faked. The kind that comes from within. And once it takes root, nothing, rejection, not even delay, can take it from you. Because it doesn't live in the world's opinion of you. It lives in your own unwavering decision to keep believing. Your breakthrough begins the moment you take full responsibility for your life. Not partial responsibility. Not responsibility with conditions. Full, unapologetic ownership. It's easy to blame the world. It's easy to say, they held me back, or I didn't have what they had. But the truth is, blame is a prison. And every time you point the finger outward, you give away your power. You hand over your strength to your past, to people who misunderstood you, to systems that failed you. But when you stand up and say, this is my life, and I will shape it, that's when everything starts to shift. That's when the ground beneath you gets stronger. That's when transformation begins. Responsibility doesn't mean shame. It doesn't mean carrying guilt for what you didn't know or for what you couldn't control. It means you now understand that your healing, your growth, your next level, prayer. And that's not a burden, that's a blessing. Because if you're responsible, then you're also in control. If it's your job to rise, then no one can stop you from rising. Taking ownership means you stop waiting to be rescued. You stop hoping someone else will see your potential and give you a chance. You look yourself in the mirror and give yourself permission. Permission to grow, permission to fall and get back up. Permission to create a future that looks nothing like your past. There comes a time when you have to stop negotiating with your limitations. Stop arguing for your excuses. Stop telling the same story of why you can't. Now it's time to write a new one. And yes, that requires courage. Yes, it requires consistency. But most of all, It requires a decision. A clear, bold, unshakable decision that says, I'm no longer available for the old version of me. Because that version was surviving. That version was doubting. And the life you are meant to live cannot exist in the same space as the mindset that's holding you back. Something has to go, and it's not your dream. Owning your power also means owning your choices. Every single one, the easy ones and the hard ones. The ones that taught you hard lessons. Because here's the truth, here's not happening to you. Not the kind of peace that comes from everything going right, but the kind of peace that comes from knowing you're aligned with your truth. You're not outsourcing your power anymore. You're not waiting for someone to choose you. You've chosen yourself. And that is the power of a trained mind. It doesn't just survive discomfort, it uses it. It finds strength inside the stretch. It finds peace inside the pressure. It finds purpose inside the pain. And that kind of mind can overcome the ones who want it from the ones who train for it. Because when your mind is trained, your future is not up for debate. It's inevitable. So now the question isn't, can you overcome? It's, will you train for it? Will you rise when it's hard? Will you stand firm when doubt knocks?